After watching this movie, I'm glad that the house I'm moving into is freshly made and not previously owned.
The Intruder.
The Intruder is a film by Deon Taylor and it stars Dennis Quaid and is about a family that moves into this big old mansion in the middle of nowhere, out of the city. They want to start a family, but Charlie, played by Dennis Quaid, is not letting go of the house that easy. Slowly but surely, things go a little bit crazy towards the third act, and they have to defend themselves against Charlie, who's just losing it. So the things that I like about this movie, first off, I just want to say Dennis Quaid, holy crap. The guy from Jaws 3D, this guy's gotten way more buff. This guy looked like he was pumping iron before he got this role, and I think it was a good decision because it's like really this 60-year-old guy, I think he's like 60, he's getting there, is really gonna like put up a good fight to this young 30-year-old guy who should be more strong than this guy, but the 30-year-old's not that strong, but Dennis Quaid, he looks muscular in this film, so it makes more sense that he would put up a good fight. And Dennis Quaid is just, he plays the psycho pretty good. Like his smile and his facial expressions, I really dug his character. In fact, he was the only like really interesting thing in this film. Like every time he wasn't on screen, I was just kind of like waiting for the next scene with him in it to kind of like save the film. Because the other two characters just weren't really doing it for me, you know, like, but I'll get into that in my negatives. But they're okay. The acting across the board is great. The woman in this movie, Annie, when she has to be scared, like, you buy it. Like, I think that she did a tremendous job. The best part of this movie is probably just the third act. I would say the third act is where a lot of the trailer comes from, and that's where, you know, all the fun is at. And everything before that, I'll get into. Some good tension towards the end, and that's really where all the thriller aspect comes into. This is a thriller drama. It's a PG-13 thriller drama. It's not going to have blood, so if you're like going into this thinking it's rated R or something, it's not. It's a watered-down PG-13 movie. I like that Annie in this movie actually helps out. You see a lot of horror movies where the woman will just watch the guy be attacked who's trying to help her or defend her, and you're just like, why aren't you helping? At least Annie in this movie helps her boyfriend or husband or whatever fight back against Charlie. So it's like, thank you, finally. Which makes sense because, you know, at the beginning of the movie, we learned that she is a feminist social justice warrior who writes for women's magazines, and she's, you know, a hardcore feminist, trying, you know, so I like that she actually puts up a fight and shows that she is a strong woman. And the husband is anti-gun, and I was like, okay, is that going to have a payoff later? And it has a payoff later. You know, he uses a gun towards the end, so it's like, oh, that's why we established that. It kind of reminded me of The Hills Have Eyes, where Doug, the brother-in-law, was like anti-gun in the beginning, but then he has to like use a gun towards the end. They kind of borrow that and put it in here. There's also some Shining references in here where Charlie's like axing the door and using the axe on people. You know, so there's some Jack Torrance moments in this movie, I think. Maybe some influences from The Shining. As for the negatives, first off, if you haven't seen the trailer, don't watch the trailer. This movie has a couple of small twist reveals, and one of them is revealed in the trailer, and I was like, really? That would have been more interesting to learn watching this for the first time, not already knowing it in the trailer, because there's a major reveal in the trailer, so don't watch it. Now, the movie's soundtrack, I felt, was just dumb. Like, I don't know, it was very questionable, like, why... The movie didn't feel like a thriller the first two acts, and even there's just dumb music cues throughout, and it doesn't feel like a thriller until the third act. The first two acts of this movie are just a straight-up drama, where the wife doesn't trust the husband, and we like find out that the husband, you know, cheated on her a long time ago, and they still got married because you know what they say, once a cheater, they change overnight, right? So why not marry him? So right there, that when I learned that, it kind of makes me not like Annie no more, even more. Like, wow, you still married him? You're stupid. But yeah, just really dumb soundtrack in this movie. No actual score that actually tries to build tension. There's hardly any tension at all in this movie. It's all saved for the third act. The first two acts are a drama, not an interesting drama. I don't care for these two characters. It's a bland story. Let's move out to the country and have a family. The movie could have done more to establish why Dennis Quaid really loves this house. They just established that his great-great-grandfather built it, and that's really it. Like, he's like, he says at this one moment that when you build things, you put your soul into it. So therefore, he's like connected to the house. But there could have been more there. I don't know. Maybe he's just psycho.
My great-great-grandfather built this house. It's the only house I ever lived in.
I put my soul into it.
And Annie's denial, this is another thing that makes me not like her, is her denial of how crazy Charlie is. Like, the boyfriend, the husband, catches on pretty quick. Like, dude, I think he's watching us. He's he's mowing the lawn, really? And like Annie is just like, oh, I just feel sorry for him. I feel sorry. Let's just invite him to Thanksgiving. And you just want to smack her in the face. Her denial of how crazy Charlie is ridiculous. And it's like, get a clue. I mean, no wonder you married the cheater. Because you're stupid. But yeah, another thing that makes this movie not feel like an action movie, like a thriller, is because it opens like an action movie. It's like this big old establishing shot of San Francisco. And then we get this fancy car driving real fast. And the score with it. It's like, is this a thriller or an action comedy? So yeah, the whole movie just did not feel like a thriller at all, and it's supposed to be a thriller, but it's all save for the third act, and the third act wasn't really that fun, but I do like the ending. It's, you know, happy ending, so at least you get that. But overall, I just kind of found myself just waiting for Dennis Quaid to come back in the frame and just start talking again, because he was the most interesting thing in this film, and the third act was the only thing that was kind of fun. Other than that, there's really nothing much redeeming about this. So when it comes to The Intruder, I recommend maybe just check this one out at Redbox. Those are my thoughts on The Intruder. Let me know what you thought about this movie in the comments below. Don't watch the trailer if you haven't seen it. Just go into it blind. But don't maybe pay matinee prices for it. I wouldn't pay full price. This movie's not that great, so yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Hit this like button, and you can follow me on social media to see what I'm doing, see pictures of me, see pictures of my cat, whatever. And make sure you subscribe today if you haven't already, just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds to see more. And until next time, I'll be to see you.